Howdy, everybody. Happy Friday. We are going to complete the square today, which is kind of a weird thing. But it is a way to solve quadratic equations. That maybe don't solve super nice. So this is a way that we can use. I'm going to guess it's probably not your guys' favorite. But it will probably be one of those ones that's like, hey, you have to do it this way on your test. So, let's say you had something like this one. X squared minus 14x plus 16 equals 0. So far, here's the stuff we know. I could graph it. Well, if I graphed it, I know that the solutions are where it crosses the x-axis. But they didn't give me a graph, and I don't really want to graph it. I know it could factor, but I don't know if you guys noticed this or not. I don't know anything that multiplies to give me 16 that adds to give me negative 14. Right? 8 and 2 doesn't work, right? 16 and 1 doesn't work. So there's not really a lot of options there, right? Yeah, 4 and 4, no good. So doesn't really factor, right? Well, this is where completing the square comes in. Because what we can do is we can make it so that it can factor. That sounds kind of weird probably, and it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like create a perfect square, which is why it's called completing the square. Because literally what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that it factors perfectly. So first step here, and this one's a little counterintuitive, because we talked about how we always want to get it equal to 0, right? Well, once we get it equal to 0, if we want to complete the square, we're actually going to put this number back over here. So we just have x squared minus 14x equals negative 16. Now, the part we want to factor is this side, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to set up, we actually want a c term here. So to make it so it factors, we're going to take this middle section out of here. Well, not really take it out or anything, but we're going to use the middle section. This part here. And what we want to do is we just want to come up with a value for c. And to do that, we're going to take b divided by 2 and square it. So we take our b value, which in this case is negative 14. We divide it by 2, and we square it. So negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. Negative 7 squared is 49. So we can't just add 49 because the rule always says that whatever you do one side, you have to do the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 49 to both sides of our equation. So we got minus 14x plus 49. Over here on this side, we're going to do negative 16 plus 49. Now, some things are going to happen now that we did that. First of all, there's definitely some like terms going on over here. Negative 16 plus 49 is what, 33? Take away 16, yeah. So we're just going to make that 33. And then this side is actually going to factor for us, right? If we look now, what multiplies to give you 49, but adds to give you negative 14? Well, of course, it'd be negative 7 and negative 7. Negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. Negative 7 plus negative 7 is negative 14. That's my perfect square, right? So really what I can do is I can make this side x minus 7 squared equals 33. So I'm going to factor the left side, and it's always going to be a perfect square, meaning this factor squared. All right? Now, here's the weird part. Well, I guess all that's kind of weird. But now if I want to get this x by itself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to square root both sides. And over here, the square root's just going to cancel out with my squared, and that leaves me with x minus 7. And over here, we just have square root of 33. In fact, what we actually have, so square root of 33 is not a perfect square. Does it break down? I sure don't think it does, because I think it's just 11 and 3. So let's do plus or minus square root of 23. And then we add 7 to both sides. And so my solutions here are going to be plus or minus the square root of 33 plus 7. Or a better way to write that probably is just say 7 plus or minus square root of 33. That's better. Because if we do 7 plus this, that's going to give me the answer. 7 minus this will give me my other answer. Yeah, cool. So that right there is my completing the square. Recap for you. Had something that didn't factor. Move the C term over. I split the B term, then squared it. That left me with, make sure you add that number to both sides, because that's what I always forget. Factor this side now. It's a perfect square. Take the square root and get x by itself. And there's your two solutions. We're just going to leave them, obviously they're decimals. We're going to leave them just 7 plus square root of 33, 7 minus square root of 33. Yeah, cool. Let's do another one. Because I know you're thinking, that's pretty weird, Odester. And you are right. It is pretty weird. Let's see here. Let's do let me pick one of these ones that are not in your homework to do with you. Let's do x squared minus 4x minus 30 equals 0. All right, cool. So, let's pretend like I don't know what I'm doing. I know that I always want to check and see if it factors first. So is there anything that multiplies to give me negative 30 that would add to give me negative 4? Let's see. Negative 30 would be 5 and 6. There's no way. 15 and 2. 3 and 10. No good, right? Not going to work. So we're going to complete the square. So I'm going to add 30 to both sides. So we get x squared minus 4x equals 30. And now we're going to take our b term out. We're going to cut it in half, and we're going to square it. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. So that's going to give me a plus 4 on this side and a plus 4 on this side. So over here we got x squared minus 4x plus 4. Over here we're going to have 34. Cool. Now I can factor this. Multiplies to give me 4, adds to give me negative 4 would be negative 2 and negative 2. Multiply to 4, add negative 4. So we got x minus 2 squared equals 34. Solve it, take the square root. We're just going to leave that plus or minus square root of 34. And then we're going to add 2 to both sides. Oh, does square root of 34 break down? That's an excellent question, because if it does, we want to. 17 and 2, neither of those are perfect squares, so that's the only way 34 breaks down. So that's going to be a no. So we get x by itself, we get that 2 on this side, plus or minus the square root of 34. And there's our solutions with completing the square. Pretty cool. One more thing I want to show you. And that is, what if I would like to complete the square to turn it into vertex form, which is actually a handy little tip, it looks like. So let's talk about that. So we got y equals x squared minus 8x plus 11. So we can see it's in standard form now. And let's say for some reason they said, turn this into vertex form. I think that there's a lot of these on the air test from what I hear, where they want you to turn something into vertex form. So we can do that. We're going to complete the square. So I need this 11 to be on this side. So we got y minus 11 equals x squared minus 8x. And now we're going to complete the square. So we're going to take that b term, negative 8, cut it in half, square it. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared would be 16. So we're going to add 16 to both sides here. So over here, that's going to be y plus 5. Over here, that's going to be x squared minus 8x plus 16. And now that side should factor. Multiply to 16, add to give you negative 8. That's going to be negative 4 and negative 4. So this side's going to stay the same. Over here, we're going to have x minus 4 squared. So we can see it's already taken shape for vertex form. All we have to do is get y by itself one more time. So we're going to minus this 5 from both sides. And then y equals x minus 4 squared minus 5. So I can see here that my vertex is at 4, negative 5. We can see the shifts a lot better this way. That can definitely help us out in a couple of different ways. And I just think, like I said, that this is definitely something that they want you to be able to do on your air test. So that's a really good way, standard form to vertex form, complete the square. Okay, I know that's weird. It's going to take some practice. It's not very intuitive either. You're not going to be like, oh, you probably do this. Because no one would think, why don't I just split the b value? But that's kind of how we come up with that perfect square part. And this is really going to lead into what we talk about next week in the quadratic formula. So, you guys have a great weekend. If I don't see you, which I probably won't because I never do. But, you know, have a good weekend anyway. And enjoy the nice weather we have. Yeah. Toodles.